Hey there guys, and welcome back. It's always a great day whenever we get to talk about some Godzilla content. And we got a small, very minor update here as to Godzilla Minus One, the sequel. We got some information, but it gives us a great insight as to where the next movie might potentially be going. Obviously, we got Takashi Yamazaki, the director from that first movie, coming back to do this next movie as well. The first movie, $15 million budget, went on to win the Best VFX Oscars at the Academy Awards, and that movie was just insane what they did on that small budget. So I'm excited to see what they do with this next movie. But let's get into this article here from Joe Blow. Let's take a look at this information and see what we can learn about potentially what may happen in the Godzilla Minus One sequel. So, Godzilla Minus One director Takashi Yamazaki is working on the script and storyboards for the sequel. So let's go down and get into this information. So back in 2023, Toho released a new Godzilla film titled Godzilla Minus One in Japan on November 3rd, which happens to be Godzilla Day, the anniversary of the 1954 release of the original Godzilla movie. To celebrate the anniversary last year, they announced that they were given the green light to a new Godzilla movie that will be written and directed by Godzilla Minus One mastermind Takashi Yamazaki, who will also be handling the visual effects. Yeah, so he comes from a visual effects background as well. That's why that first Godzilla Minus One, that's why it won the Best VFX Oscars award. I mean, the guy is directing the movie, he knows how to do visual effects, he did it on a small budget, and I can't say good enough things about it. I mean, just, it is what it is. So now Variety has been able to catch up with Yamazaki and confirm that he's currently working on the screenplay and storyboards for the new Godzilla movie. So this is where it gets a little bit interesting, because is this going to be a direct follow-up to that movie? Or is it going to be another Godzilla film, but based in a different time period or a different kind of era? I'm not really sure if it exactly links directly from that first Minus One movie. So that's something we're going to have to wait and see, but there's been a lot of speculation about that. So Yamazaki managed to make Godzilla Minus One for a budget of less than $15 million, and he mentioned to Variety that he expects to have more of a budget this time around from Toho, though he didn't have an exact figure. Yeah, I mean, this always happens. Every time you come out with a sequel or a next movie in the franchise, if that first movie did good, then the studio is more likely to give you a bigger budget the next time around, because they know what kind of figures to expect when it comes to the box office, so they can give you a bigger budget accordingly based on how much that first movie made. So that does make sense. Godzilla Minus One saw an already devastated post-war Japan facing a new threat in the form of Godzilla. Toho provide the synopsis. Obviously we already know, but I'll just go through it again anyway, guys. Set in a post-war Japan, Godzilla Minus One will once again show us a Godzilla that is terrifying and an overwhelming force, which you already get a sense of from the teaser trailer and the poster. The concept is that Japan, which has already been devastated by war, faces a new threat, with Godzilla bringing the country into the minus. So, details on Yamazaki's follow-up have not been revealed, but the filmmaker was always open to the fact that he was hoping to get a chance to make a sequel. So this is what he said about potentially making a sequel. This is where we get an insight as to what this sequel movie could look like. So Takashi Yamazaki, the director, said this: "I would certainly like to see what a sequel would look like. I know that Shishikishima's war seems over. Sorry if I butchered that name. And we've reached a state of peace and calm." So that's talking about the main character within that Godzilla Minus One movie. We've reached a state of peace and calm, but perhaps it's the calm before the storm, and the characters have not yet been forgiven for what has been imposed upon them. I don't know that anyone has pulled it off a more serious tone of a kaiju versus kaiju with human drama. So that gives us a big insight into his mindset of what he wants to do. A serious tone of a kaiju versus kaiju. So it looks like instead of Godzilla Minus One, the sequel, just being Godzilla on his own, again causing chaos in the city, it's going to be Godzilla versus another kaiju, but with human drama kind of in the middle as well. So it looks like we're going to get a kaiju on kaiju fight potentially for the sequel film, which would be incredible. So kaiju vs kaiju with human drama, and that's challenging, is something that I'd like to explore. When you have movies that feature kaiju battles, I think it's very easy to put the spotlight and camera on this massive spectacle, and it detaches itself from the human drama component. He went on to say that I would have to make sure that the human drama or whatever's happening between the kaiju both have meaning and both able to affect one another in terms of plot development. Obviously with Godzilla Minus One, one of the best parts about the film wasn't actually Godzilla. Don't get me wrong, Godzilla was incredible in his own Godzilla Minus One movie. But what made that film so great and the impact emotionally wise was the human drama in the movie and the main characters and the plot. surrounding the Godzilla kind of turning up. That's what made that movie so impactful and emotional, was just the human drama. And if they can do a kaiju on kaiju battle in the sequel, so 2 kaijus fighting, but you have the human drama that's actually emotionally powerful and kind of resonates with the audience at the same time, then it elevates the movie to an even more impactful stage, which is exactly what we want from our Godzilla content. So Variety caught up with Yamazaki at the Visual Effects Society Awards, where he accepted the Society's Visionary Award. AI was a hot topic at the ceremony, and Yamazaki said the following. So it's a very capable assistant or tool as it stands right now, but it's not the point where we can kind of take center stage and generate what humans can. Right now, it's not in any of our pipelines because of that reason, but the speed at which AI evolves is so immense, and where it goes from here remains to be seen. He added that he's likely to be a late adopter of the technology. Yamazaki said, until recently, I've still been shooting on film, and I like to use miniatures. So I know that someday we're going to have to embrace that kind of work with AI, but I'm probably going to be one of the later ones because I do like working with older technology and techniques. Yamazaki recently signed on to make his English language debut film called Grand Gear for Sony Pictures and Bad Robot, but it sounds like he might end up making Godzilla Minus One sequel for Toho first. Are you glad to hear he's hard at work on the sequel? I could not be more excited. This is one of the best movies of the last probably 10 years or so, especially on the budget and just everything they did with it. Nothing short of a masterpiece. There's not many people that will say that this is a bad movie or disagree with it being a masterpiece, and the fact that he says here in his thoughts that he wants a kaiju on kaiju battle for the sequel gets me even more excited about what potential kaijus Godzilla could be fighting here. We could get a unique kaiju that we may not have seen before, which would make the movie even more interesting than it already has been. So guys, jump into the comment section, let me know what you think about this. What do you make of the director's comments about a kaiju on kaiju battle? Do you think that sounds great? And are you excited for a Godzilla Minus One sequel? Let me know what you think down below. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. As always, thank you so much for being here. Make sure you hit the like button. Consider becoming a subscriber of the channel if you haven't done so already. It goes a long way to supporting the content, so I'd really appreciate that. And as always, I will see you in the next video.